Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's get into this Belle Collective episode 3. Um, my favorite so far. Get these glasses on, y'all, because I'll be trying to read these notes and be cute without my glasses. Let me put these glasses on. Okay. Opening up, they open with Tambra visiting her parents who have been together for 51 or 52 years, she said. And they are discussing her finding a man, having a baby. Every scene with her pretty much had something to deal with having kids. So that's her whole storyline is she needs to have a kid and find a baby and have a baby and all that kind of stuff. So she says that she's looking for someone like her parents. Right there with me, that is unrealistic expectations. You cannot try to have something that somebody else has because everyone is different. You are setting your expectations so high that you probably will never find anyone. Probably will never find anyone because you're trying to find something like somebody else's relationship. Yeah, those are your parents, and it's great that they set those high expectations. But you can't expect to find that same thing. You got to find what feels good to you. Not, oh, is it going to be like my parents? You know, everything's not going to fall in the direct order of your parents' life. We then go to Antoinette, where she's going to check on the progress of her dental office that she's having built in. I absolutely love that whole process. That is like so inspirational. And one little tidbit about me, I have a daughter who is 16, soon to be 17 in a few days, but she is planning on becoming a dentist. So this is something that's kind of like eye-opening, and I'm learning a lot about it so that I can go and relay it back to my daughter. She doesn't watch this show, but it's definitely something that I'm like, okay. And I did kind of encourage my daughter to go into that dental field because she wanted to do something in the medical field. And I know a dentist and have researched a little bit, and so I gave her that information, and now she's looking into that profession. And so I'm loving that whole storyline of Antoinette and building her dental office. Her friend Kaylin came to check it out, and then Latrice came in a little later, and Antoinette discussed how the budget in the space is, becoming a little overwhelming, and she's kind of stressed about the situation. And totally understand that. All the money that she's putting into that's a big deal. And you want to make sure that you have the right people for the job and everything's going how you want it to go. Latrice says that she does see the vision and tells her that she needs to have a glass office and all this stuff. And Antoinette's like, I got this. I got a glass office. I already got that in the making. So she has that going. They then discussed Tambra's birthday party and the things that went on there. And Antoinette talked about how Letitia was throwing her shade and kind of being shady every chance that she got towards her. And I did notice that, especially when she asked her about the job that Marie had, and she was like, well, you're not gonna do this and that with my friend, you're not gonna talk about my friend. So, and it was like, okay, she asked you a question, even though I understand where she could get the shady part from, but how she came off was like a little jumpy, which we found out at the end of last week's episode. They had that discussion, so that's probably why she was kind of shady towards her, but they did have that conversation. One thing that I noticed that Antoinette said, she said, these are quote, I wrote down exactly what she said. She said that Letitia told her that her hair looks like it was falling off her head. Now, unless we missed something last week, that's not what Letitia said to her. She left off some pieces. I know they edit it down, but she didn't tell them what she said and then what Letitia said after that. So she left out some parts there. And so, but they laughed about it. They didn't make a big deal about that part. So we can move on. Kaylin, the white friend, then asked, what does everybody mean when they say they're keeping it real? That I'm keeping it real. What does that mean? I'm like, now Kaylin, come on. Now that's, if you don't know what keep it real mean, but they went ahead and explained it to her. And I liked Antoinette's explanation when she said, For her and for me too, keeping it real is being honest, being genuine, being sincere. You telling someone the truth, but not being nasty about it. And then she said some people use that term, keeping it real, to take that as an opportunity to be mean and rude, because you can tell somebody the truth about them without being nasty and rude about it. So, yeah, I'm more with that first definition of keeping it real. And then the next scene, Marie, she had a lot going on this episode, and an episode spent a lot of time on her situation because she does have a whole lot going on. Marie was at home with her grandbabies, and who are and her son Jerez is off living his life while she's with the grandbabies. One of the grandbabies has earrings in his ears, and Marie's like, now I know these babies ain't got no earring in its ear. The little country swing, like that Mississippi accent is deep in some of them. Then her husband, she's been married to him, they've been divorced, and now they're married again. When things like that happen, it's kind of weird to me. Like, you divorced them and you married again. Nene did the same thing with Greg, and then I have a relative in my family who also did the same thing. They married, they divorced, they remarried, and guess what? They got divorced again. So to me, I would never step back into that marriage thing. I understand people can change and people can grow, especially if you married early on and then you divorce and then you all kind of rekindle things and decide to try it out again. But I don't think I would jump right back into a remarriage with somebody that evidently, if we got divorced, it was something serious going on. So, yeah, that's a little crazy to me. And I think their relationship, like she said, has been a roller coaster, and I think it's still a roller coaster and still is going to be one, because I don't think that was a good choice to remarry. But Cedric's shirt, did y'all like Cedric's shirt? It looked like a curtain to me, and I was just like, sir, I don't know, fashions for Cedric, okay, we need a stylist for Cedric. Marie talked about how she has to work, she has to cook, she has to clean, she has to wash, she has to do chores, she got the grandbaby, she got this, she got that. I'm like, now with the chores, I'm like, no, wait a minute, you too rich to be doing chores. You keep talking about how much money you have and how you got this and got that. What you doing chores? You should have made Miss Rich Red Bottoms. Okay. Baby mama number 3 shows up, and Marie starts asking her questions about Jerez, the son. Like, is he contacting them? Has she spoken to him? Or what is he doing with the kids? And Marie lets her know that Jerez doesn't appreciate what she's doing and helping, and how she's helping out with his kids. And he's going to have to learn to be more responsible. And so, to me, I took from that, she's planning on cutting back on what she's doing. But I don't think she will. But that's what I took from that. We learned that Jerez is in school. So she says that's why she's been helping with the grandkids. Then, while baby mama number 3 is there, baby mama number 1 shows up. And so baby mama number 3 leaves. And Marie starts having a conversation with baby mama number 1 about Jerez and has she spoken with him and this and that. And baby mama number 1, I hate to keep saying it, but I don't know her name. She says that Jerez has been staying with her, and that so she has spoken to him. And Marie's like, okay, he's staying with you. Now, I'm not taking care of him. I got you, but I ain't taking care of him. And I'm just like, wait a minute. You shouldn't even be taking care of her. She grown just like he's grown. But I digress. That's your money. You do what you want to do. But she's basically saying that she'll help with taking care of the baby and things, but she's not going to help take care of him, because really she's upset about the situation that they have had. Next we have Latrice and Mel. They meet to discuss the hairline, so they're kind of at a brunch. And this scene is just like, I'm tired of Zaddy, Cliff, sick of him already. But they having a meeting discussing her business. That's Latrice's hair business that she started. Zaddy calls, and he is upset that he didn't know about the meeting and that he wasn't invited to come to the meeting. is this your business? Yeah, you invested. That's why I said that that was a bad idea to allow him to invest in the business, because now he feels like he got to be in everything. He already felt that way, but now that he's putting his money into it, he really feels like he got to be there every step of the way. But they discuss their essential brand and what they want to do with that. And Latrice talks about how she wants it in beauty supply stores all over America. Mr. Zaddy shows up to the meeting, and he's mad because he says he's the VP and he was not invited to the meeting, and no decision should be made without him because he's putting his money into it. Da 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 da. Goodbye, Cliff. You are dismissed. Like, you doing the most. Next scene, Marie visits Letitia's house, and y'all, this one, it gets kind of deep. Letitia states how she's the closest with Marie out of all of the ladies, because Marie always comes to all the events dressed up in all of these. I mean, she takes these little things to the extreme, especially with that little Bo Peep outfit. But Letitia says that nobody should have. Tiana tells her that nobody should have that kind of control over you to make you get that angry. You shouldn't allow somebody to have that kind of control over you. And I completely agree. Like, somebody can make you mad, but you don't, if you give them all that control where you are now claiming that you're acting out of who you are, you're not being who you are because you're so angry, you're giving way too much control to that other person. So you definitely need to check that. And by her being like a mental health kind of person, I don't know her. I don't know if she just opens the facilities or is she like part of the counselors or what. But I think she needs to seek a little help in that department. But to me, that's keeping it real. What Letitia said to her, that's how you keep it real. You're not being nasty, you're not being mean. You're doing something kind of be helpful, to someone, and telling them the truth without, putting them down. Did not like Marie's shirt at all in that scene. She has this big flower blooming off of her shoulder, and I know I got flowers on mine, but hers is blooming, like literally it was on her face. But they discussed Jerez and him leaving to go to school, which was 3 hours away, and that's kind of what Marie talked about started their conflict, because she didn't want him to go to a school so far away, especially with him having 3 young kids that he needed to also be spending his time with. And but she said she came in to check on him and asked him, like, what was he doing? And he was packing up the TV and stuff like that. And she basically told him, okay, once you get all your stuff, make sure you get everything, because once you leave, you're not coming back. And that's when he just flew off the handle. He cussed her out and drew back at her. And she said one of her younger sons got in between them and kind of told him to stop. And that's when he punched the wall. He went down the hall, punched another wall. Like, baby boy has some serious anger issues. But we'll get into that towards the end, because they actually sat down and talked at the end of this episode. And as a mother, and then they listened to the recording, and Marie started to cry. And I understand, as a mother, to have a child act out towards you in that manner, especially if, like she's saying, she's been there for him all throughout his life. It's not like she left him. It's not like she abandoned him. Like, so, sir, yeah, everybody has some kind of issues, because parents aren't perfect. But for you to take it to that extreme, if my child cursed me out, punching walls, first of all, we gonna have some serious issues. But I understand the hurt that would cause, like, your child, some of the person that you birthed. So I think he also needs to be seeking some mental health help as well. All right, but then we move to Tambra and Letitia. They go to the Jackson City Hall, and they meet with the city councilman kind of to discuss the progress or the process that they want to go through with the Ferris Street project that Letitia is trying to work on. And we learned that, Ferris Street was the second largest Black economy in America, behind Harlem. So I love what the city councilman talked about, how business owners working together is how we get things thriving. And so Tambra, that was excellent. That was her cousin, was the city councilman. And Letitia, at the end, when they got ready to leave, she was just crying, happy tears, because she could see her vision coming to light. And also far as her grandfather as well, thinking about her grandfather and his vision. Then we moved to Latrice, and again, her house is beautiful. That is a beautiful home. They're in Jackson, Mississippi, and love the pool. And we come open up the scene with her trying to pacify Zaddy, and her kind of talking about how she knew he was mad. So now she's kind of buttering him up to try to get him over not being invited to the meeting. And I'm like, girl, this is exactly why he's gonna continue to treat you the way that he treats you. But the funniest thing, she said, let me see them muscles. Take that shirt off. Let me see them muscles. Because he getting ready to get in the pool. Yeah, where the muscles? Tell me where the muscles. And I know that's her husband. She sees something maybe that we don't see. But not a muscle in sight. Womp womp. But Cliff tries to encourage her to get in the pool with him. And of course, Latrice is just like, I got on a lace front, black girl hair, and I can't swim. You know I don't swim. So he keeps trying to get her to get in the pool. Eventually, he does encourage her to get in the pool with him. And he even talks about, I got this pool built for you. And she's like, I don't swim. So, sir, you can get that pool built for her. You just want the pool. But Latrice goes in the house, old school ratchet style. Sister girl goes and get a shopping bag, a plastic shopping bag to put over her hair, her goddess Link's hair. She goes and get a plastic bag and wraps it up, and to get into the pool. Now that was old school, okay. And then he attempts to give her a swimming lesson. Swimming lessons were a bust because Latrice, you're gonna need professional help, and it may be too late for Latrice. I hate to say it's too late, but she wouldn't even I didn't see it. She's trying to kick her feet. I don't know what was going on, but yeah. Next we're gonna move on to Marie. Now with Marie, in her mind, she's really saying that this fight is over school. She's not processing, even anybody, a blind person can see that if for your child to blow up like that on you, it's more than just some school going on. It's more than you telling them to, once they leave the state, you got some deeper issues going on if he blew up on you like that. But in this scene, Marie's preparing to meet with Jerez, and she's has Cedric there, and Cedric, she talked to Cedric before anybody came about him not coming home the night before. She was like, I invited Essie over because I didn't know if you were gonna be here because you didn't come home the night before, and a few days ago you didn't come home. And Cedric just seems like he really don't care. He's not showing any emotion. He really is like okay. And to me, I don't know the whole dynamic yet, but it seems like, well, like I said, I don't think they should have got remarried because it looks like they having the same issues that they probably had when they divorced the first time. So they didn't work on that before they jumped right into it. But it just seems like Cedric is just like in his own world. She says that they both had their own properties after they got divorced, and so he still has his, and so that's where he said that he had stayed the night before. Okay, if we didn't got remarried, unless they already know that things probably are going to go sour, and that's why he kept his place, so he can still have a place to go to. So maybe we'll get a little more deep into that as the season goes on. But anyway, Essie comes in and she starts talking. Didn't like Essie on this scene. Essie, that's not your business, that's not your place. But anyway, she starts blaming Cedric for Jerez carrying on like how he does. I think that was a setup. I think Essie and Marie probably had already discussed talking about that. Marie probably had already, of course, told her how he didn't come home the night before, and probably told her, make sure you bring that up, make sure you say da 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 da. Okay, that wasn't her place to do that. And he basically said that you're out cheating, you're out not coming home, and so the kids see that, so they think it's okay. Which could be true, but at this point, Jerez is old enough where he knows right from wrong, and I'm quite sure that he should have learned something after the first child, and he continued to have them, so he got some issues going on. But of course, Cedric doesn't like that Essie is in their business, and he shouldn't like it. Like, mind your business. That's not your job to get into those people's marriage. You don't do that. As a friend, and I have stated that before, that as a friend, when you get involved in your friend's relationship, that's the quickest way to end a friendship. That's the quickest way to end a friendship, because you're doing too much. You're doing too much. I don't care what the friend telling you. You listen to them, and you be a listening ear, and you kind of let them confide in you and give your advice or what you want to say, but you don't jump in talking to that man. You don't do that. But anyway, Marie starts to say how Essie has every right to be involved in their business. How, Sway? How does she has every right to be in your business? Does she sleep with him? I mean, like, do they have something going on where she got every right to be in the business? That didn't make sense to me. Essie then says that what Marie has, everything that she has, is half of hers. And so when he's out doing Marie wrong, that's like her being pimped too. Didn't understand it at all. Somebody please drop down in the comments and explain that to me. How is your friend taking things from her husband, taking him cheating and taking him staying out and not coming home? How is that the husband pimping you? Please explain that to me, because I'm confused. Cedric feels like he is being pimped. He says he feels like he's being pimped, and that this marriage is really Marie and Essie's marriage, and he's a side piece. And then in the confessional, that's when Marie kind of talks about how he really wanted to be a part of the business, and that's why he feels that way. So I'm like, well, that could be a issue in the marriage, part of the issue. Okay, then Mr. Jerez shows up to the house. Y'all, Jerez, he's a nice looking young man. Looks like, and when they discuss it, it looks like he played basketball, but I wasn't gonna talk about it, but the hair, it just seemed like Jerez kind of not giving up on himself, but not putting as much into his appearance. And to me, when you feel good on the inside, you want to look good on the outside. So whatever you're feeling in the inside, to me, sometimes it's also, you want to make sure that your upkeep is the same as how you feel on the inside. For me, as an adult, a young adult, that's the way that I think. So I'm just like, all right, Jerez giving us some vibes like he just saying he ain't feeling himself right now. But this generation of hair, I know it's a whole nother thing. But she said that Marie tells him how she gave him everything, and she feels like she created a monster, and she was kind of preaching to us, the viewers, that if you got a child and you giving them everything, I suggest you don't. I suggest you put a stop to that, because you'll create a monster. Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. You'll create a child that feels entitled, that feels that they don't have to work for anything. And I feel like she did create a monster, because after that first child, okay, that's a slap of reality. You now have a responsibility. And I feel like if she would have allowed him to take care of that responsibility with that first child, then he probably would not have just jumped right into having a second and third child. He would have thought a little bit more about it. But by him continuously having child after child after child with 3 different women, it kind of shows like, okay, I mean, like, ain't really no consequences I'm facing. It is what it is, like a I don't care attitude. So yeah, she's right. She did create a monster with that. Marie begins to cry when she starts to try to talk to Jerez about how he made her feel with that situation when he cursed her out and all that. And basically she says he made her feel like she was a horrible mother by him by him saying the things that he said to her. And I completely understand it. Like I've already said, Jerez then tells her that he snapped because she was trying to basically control him and tell him everything that he had to do, and basically had told him that he had to go to Jackson State. And so I guess and when you try to tell your child what they're going to do, a lot of times they're going to push back. You got to allow them to be their individual selves. And then she made the statement that she's paying his tickets, his fines and tickets, and she's taking care of him. She's taking care of the kids. She's putting clothes on his back and feeding him. So she should be involved in everything. I don't agree with that. Because You made that choice to do those things. But like I was saying, you made the choice to do all those things for your child. So now you can't say, because I do all these things, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to do everything that I tell you to do because I chose to have you and I chose to do all these things for you. No, they're still an individual. They still get to live their lives, or they are going to resent you. They're going to have some feelings towards you like, you're not going to control me, and they might lash out on you like he did. So that was his reasoning on why he snapped. And she still gave her commentary about how she's doing X, Y, and Z for him. But Marie said that she had told him that to take a season off from basketball because he had the 3 kids. He hadn't done too well in school. And so he needed to take a season off, focus on school, and focus on his children, and be there for the boys. And I guess that's not something that he wanted to do. So basically she was saying that he wasn't respecting his mom. And I guess, I mean, that's a lot. But Jerez does apologize. Cedric tells him that he was wrong, but he thanked him for coming over and having the discussion and sitting down and talking. And Marie tells him that he needs counseling. He needs anger management to deal with that anger, because as a young black man, getting that angry and doing something like that, and the way he handled that situation could lead to him getting hurt or hurting somebody or killing somebody. Things like that could happen. So he needed to get that under a wrap, and they decided that they would do family counseling, and he agreed to that. So I'm glad that they did that. And that kind of wrapped up this episode. Coming up on next episode, Tambra still talking about having a baby and marriage. Girl, go on and unfreeze some eggs and have a baby. Also in the next episode, Tambra meets with a nice looking man. He's a good man, Savannah. Okay, don't know yet, but not sure who he is. But that was part of the next episode. Also, Marie and Jerez, they have their counseling session. We'll see that on the next episode. And then also the girls are going to, I'm assuming it's Letitia's, another brunch of hers. So I see the girls with their little hats on, their little brunch hats, and they were discussing racism at this event, which is I'm looking forward to seeing that. And that is a huge issue, and I like to see conversations about that. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode on that. And then I did see it's gonna be like a little blow up. Can't be an episode without some drama going on. Kaylin, the white friend of Antoinette, is speaking, and Marie interrupts, and Kaylin said something about, well, come here. And Marie's like, oh, I'm not a slave. Oh, I'm a slave or something. I'm like, oh my goodness, here come Marie with all of this misplaced anger and misplaced aggression. But we'll see what happens with that. But you all, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Drop down in the comments and let's discuss. Let's talk about what you think, especially about this Marie situation with her son. Let's discuss it. And my big takeaway from this episode was nobody should have that much control over you to make you so angry. You do not allow somebody to control your feelings. You all be blessed, and see you next week.